Hello and welcome to Efficient Strategy Gaming. We are post No Step Back DLC, and there's a whole new tank designer screen that we have to learn here. And I just wanted to go through different types of tanks and how they've changed and what types of tanks I think is best for multiplayer and single player. So let's get into it here. As you can see, I've created all different types of variants. I am using the medium chassis, so like the improved tank chassis for light, medium, and heavy. And kind of what I found here from taking a deep dive and looking at all the different variants that I could create is that the rule of thumb is for light tanks, you'll do fine against the AI, just like you did before. But the light tanks, you could stack some pretty decent soft attack. And the reason why is because you get this main armament close support gun. And the close support gun is going to give you the highest soft attack out of any type of basic or even upgraded guns. As you can see, you can't put medium cannons on the light tank. You can upgrade to flamethrower, but that does not improve the soft attack, but you will get other bonuses from equipping the tank with flamethrower. But that's for another video. So basically, light tanks you could make super speedy, and you can apply this gun right here and have good soft attack, and they would be viable for opponents that are doing roach builds in multiplayer or just single player, because you should be able to, against the AI, just maneuver around enemy tanks, make encirclements, and then destroy heavier tanks with CAS, with railguns, and just via the fact that there's a lot of attrition when opponents' tanks are encircled. So that's light tanks. So a lot of people have been saying that it's a medium tank meta, and this is the best medium tank that I think that I could build. You're not allowed to put heavy armament onto the medium tank unless you equip the medium tank with a fixed superstructure, and then you are able to place the heavy cannon onto the tank. But as you see, the breakthrough gets reduced significantly. So the other thing is, if you're researching, you typically want to stay with one type of tank. You don't want to research all three different types of chassis, because that wouldn't be efficient. You're not going to be able to research everything. There's just not enough time if you're trying to do a decent build. So you're probably only going to research one type of tank. Therefore, what is the best type of tank? Well, I'll tell you, I think it's still heavy tanks. And if you look at the stats between the medium and the heavy, so we've got some TDs in there. So here's the medium. The piercing is 125, soft attack 19, hard attack 35. The heavy, piercing is still 125, soft attack 29, hard attack 35. So with the heavy, you get increased soft attack with very little downside, in my opinion. And you also get an extra 2 breakthrough. And also you get extra hardness. So that means hardness is a stat that basically makes damage binary from ground units. So like if you're talking about an opposing infantry division, they deal mainly soft attack. Yes, you can put in AT into the infantry, and that would give you hard attack and piercing. But the hardness is, the higher the hardness of your division, the less damage it takes from soft attack. The higher hard attack from a division, the more damage that you're going to be able to deal to a high hardness division. So that's the way that goes. Piercing is not as big of a deal because now there is partial piercing. So again, if you look at the difference, because there's no piercing difference between these two tanks, there's really no downside to going mediums, but there is the better stats on the heavies. Now, I've created a few different template types, and we've got a heavy tank template right here, and we've got a medium tank template. And the interesting thing is that the fuel usage of a 42 width medium tank division is higher than that of a 42 width heavy tank division, and that's because there are less heavy tanks in the division. So you field 440 heavy tanks in this 42 width heavy tank division, and you field 550 medium tanks. So again, I would say that the heavy tanks win in that case as well. Organization is a big deal. Organization between these two templates is no different. I do feel that these are the base, the best templates that you could get just looking at the right side here of the combat regiments. So if you go 42 width, you're going to be basically dealing with every terrain type fairly well. So you're fitting into the various new combat widths that they've developed fairly well. And you should not have to micro the combat widths after you just get 42 width divisions. What I have seen is that you will not be able to, on the barb front at least, get as many divisions up to the front line because it's harder to supply them. And once you have low supply, your divisions will not be able to attack well. So I would argue that it is better to go with the better tank with the bigger stats that is just a little more expensive. So that is another point. If you look at the costs here of the heavy tank division, it's 95 to 2,000, 9,500 to 2,000, or 8,100 to 2,000. So there is not a huge difference in production cost between the two templates, and I think this is because of the number of tanks fielded in each template. But if you look at the two different template stats, the stats of the heavy tank template is much greater than the medium tank template. So you got soft attack 316, hard attack 498. The heavy tank template is soft attack 426, hard attack 498. So I think it still is a heavy tank meta. And it's better to have more concentrated divisions of better equipment because you're not going to be able to put that many divisions on the front line because they're going to get low supply, particularly if you don't do transport planes, which are a must now in single player or multiplayer builds. The other thing that we played around here, let's touch on anti-tank divisions. So we've got some tank destroyers here. We've got the medium tank destroyer and the heavy tank destroyer. And basically, in this case, I believe that the heavy tank destroyer wins out, and I'll tell you why. In order to get the heart attack and the piercing on the medium chassis, in order to mount this gun, you need to have a fixed turret. So if I take this off of this medium tank, off of a fixed turret, you can see that I can no longer mount the big gun. And that's going to be quite detrimental. It looks like they've got a little bug here because this doesn't have X's on it. But sure enough, when I put it in here, there's an X. So you have to go with the medium armament if you're going to have a non-fixed turret. So you get around this by creating the fixed turret, and then you can put the big gun on it. Now, the problem is with the heavy tank chassis, I am able to mount a turret instead of a fixed turret. So just like a normal 3-man turret instead of a fixed turret. Now, when you switch back and forth between these two types of turrets, you can see that the 3-man turret has a breakthrough of 44.9 and the fixed has a breakthrough of 10.8. The reliability does go up by 20% with the fixed turret, but the breakthrough goes down. So yes, your tank is not going to break down or deorg as quickly, but you will get destroyed quickly because breakthrough is basically a defensive stat, but while you're attacking. So that being the case, I do think that heavy tank destroyers are better than fielding medium tank destroyers, and there is a 6 production cost difference between those different types of tanks. But like I said, since everything is going to be narrower because you're going to have supply problems with the no step back DLC, we're fielding less tanks anyways, so it doesn't matter. And the heavy tank regiments field less numbers of tanks anyways, so the production cost actually is not that much different. Okay, so that is going to end the video here. Thanks for watching. We're still in a heavy tank meta, and the bigger stats are still going to win out. You have to be very careful with supply. I'll put out some more videos on how to supply the front better. But yeah, these are the different tank templates that I think are the best tank templates right now. So here's the tank destroyer with the squeeze bore adapter on it that gives you the 137 piercing. So you'd add 1 or 2 of these types of regiments to your heavy tank division template. And then you get the soft attack with the additional machine guns. And then in terms of the heavy tank, I increased reliability by putting the wet ammunition storage onto the tank. As you can see, we have radio 2. I think that that's a must for defense, so you're going to have to research that. We've got the 3-man turret. We've got the improved armament here, improved heavy cannon 2, and cast armor, and Christie suspension. So I haven't upgraded armor or suspension through research whatsoever, but I think that this is going to be your best multiplayer or single player tank template. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.